Hi everyone, welcome to the West Village Kitchen. Today I'm going to be cooking you some lovely, it's a really simple thing that you can make, your kids are gonna love. You make it with your kids, you're gonna love it. It's the simplest thing ever. It's basically just crumb chicken. We're gonna fancy the crumbing set up a little bit. Some Parmesan in there, egg wash, some lemon zest and parsley in the crumbs. So even if you're not a kid, you can eat it and pretend you're being nice and fancy and gourmet. And the beauty of doing it yourself rather than buying ones from the shop that are already pre-crumbed is you know exactly what you're getting. So there's no preservative, there's no additives in this at all. You can choose to buy really good quality free range or organic chicken and you know you're getting the really good stuff. So I'm going to make a honey and mustard mayonnaise to go with this chicken, but first of all we need to get the chicken done. So now I've got a whole chicken breast here. You'll find that generally when you buy a chicken breast it's got what's called the fillet underneath, so I'll take that straight off. That one can just be one piece on its own. That can be one of the pieces that we crumb. You want this to be nice and thin so that it cooks quickly. It's chicken breast, so you don't want it to overcook. It's going to cook quite fast anyway. But the best idea is to try and get it thin to start off with. You don't really need to go bashing around with a hammer or anything like that if you cut it really nice and thin to start with. So I've just flipped it upside down, that chicken breast, taken the fillet out, and then if we just slice, just be careful, don't cut your hands, slice into nice thin pieces like that. You want it to essentially be about 5 millimeters thick. So cut slices, and you want them to be manageable when you're putting them into a fry pan as well. So not too big, not so small that you're trying to turn 100 pieces over. So now we've got the chicken nice and thinly cut, we need a crumbing set. So flour in one bowl. I've got 1 egg, and you don't need lots of any of this stuff, so don't overdo it, because once you've done this, you've kind of got to throw whatever's left out. So only use just what you need. Some milk, and to fancy this up a little bit, I've just got some grated Parmesan. I'm going to add a little bit of that, and that's going to stick to the chicken and give it that really yummy, cheesy, umami sort of flavour. And then that all gets whisked together. And then the crumbs. So to fancy the crumbs up a little bit, I've just got the crumbs, some chopped parsley or any herb you like. If you've got fresh thyme or fresh rosemary or any of those lovely herbs that you associate with chicken, throw those in, and then some lemon zest. Just a little splash of that, and that's going to give the chicken that little bit of zing. In order so you don't make a huge mess everywhere, because this is the challenge with crumbing anything, you keep both hands separate. So one is the wet hand and the other one is the dry hand. So we'll say this one's the dry one, this one's going to be the wet hand. Chicken goes in to here, dry, wet, dry, and then onto a plate or a tray. So the challenge is to not mix them up, because it means that you don't end up with all this sticky goo all over your fingers. This is something that's really good to get the kids involved with as well. I mean, it's going to make a mess probably in kitchen anyway, but it's something that they can be learning with. Now, if you want just a nice, thin, crispy coating on the chicken, you just do it once. So you just run it through, flour, egg wash, crumbs. If you want a really nice, thick crust on the chicken, or you want to maybe put some panko crumbs on it, some of those Japanese crumbs, the really coarse ones, you have another bowl of those, so you do them all once. This is what we call double crumbing. So you put flour, egg wash, crumbs, and then you go egg wash, and crumbs. So you don't do the flour again. The flour is just basically to make the egg wash stick to it. So once you've got that on there, but then you've got a double coating of the crumbs as well. So depending on how thick you want the crumbs to be, you can go back through and do another double crumb. Okay, so now that the chicken's all ready and crumbed, we need a pan, and we're going to shallow fry this. So it shouldn't be, if it's not enough oil, you don't want to deep fry it, but you also don't want to have not enough oil that it's kind of fries dry. So I call this shallow frying, and I'd probably call it about maybe 3 millimeters of oil in the bottom. And it needs to be the right heat before you start, because if it's not hot enough, then you'll put it in there and the crumbs will just absorb all that fat. You want it to hit the oil and sizzle. So wait until that gets. And you can test this out, so you can actually see the oil start to shimmy a little bit in the pan. It sort of changes its thickness. And then before you throw them all in, just to check, just put a little bit in like that. And if it sizzles, that's perfect. That's what we want. And this isn't going to take long. Remember, this is chicken breast. If it was chicken thigh, you could probably cook it for a little bit longer. Okay, so you need to just maintain that heat. So if it starts to get too hot, you don't want the crumbs to burn, so just turn it down. But just keep it hot enough that the crumbs aren't just absorbing all that fat. You can see there's still the oil in the pan. It hasn't all just been sucked into the breadcrumbs. And now I've turned that, I'm just going to turn it over a little bit, turn it down a little bit, just to stop them from overcooking. And I've also got ready to go a tray or a plate with some paper towel to drain the excess oil off. Okay, and then a sauce to go with our crumb chicken, and this is really simple. Just get a good egg-based mayonnaise, and I'm going to add just 2 ingredients to it. Some seeded mustard, and some of that beautiful B1/3 honey that's come off the roof. Mix those all together really well. If you keep this in the fridge, it's going to last for a couple of weeks like this. So all this needs just to finish it off now. It's a really simple meal, but a nice little salad, some simple leaves, a couple of cherry tomatoes, and if you buy one of these Lebanese cucumbers, these are a great size. You got a good simple meal that's nice and quick and healthy for the kids, or for the big kids. And there you have it, easy crumb chicken with B1/3 honey mustard mayonnaise.